Have you ever heard that a single, tiny mite could wipe out 1,000 bees? It sounds like something out of a horror movie, but for beekeepers, it's a terrifying reality. This isn't just any mite. We're talking about the Varroa destructor, the #1 enemy of honeybees worldwide. Imagine this little vampire-like creature, barely visible to the naked eye, latching onto a bee and literally sucking the life out of it. It's not just the direct feeding that's deadly. These mites are vectors, carrying and transmitting a cocktail of deadly viruses that can cripple and eventually collapse an entire colony. So that initial statement, it's not an exaggeration. One mite can infect a bee. That bee can then spread viruses to other bees through contact, and soon, you have a pandemic within the hive. The mite population grows exponentially, weakening the bees, shortening their lifespans, and ultimately leading to what's known as colony collapse disorder. It's a silent, creeping invasion that can turn a buzzing, thriving superorganism into a ghost town in a matter of weeks. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for the bees, but for all of us who depend on them for pollination. So, how do you fight an enemy this small and destructive? For years, beekeepers have relied on chemical treatments, or miticides. These are essentially pesticides designed to kill the mites. Things like Apivar, which uses a chemical called amitraz, or strips containing fluvolinate. And for a while, they worked. But here's the problem: Varroa mites are masters of evolution. They reproduce so quickly that they can develop resistance to these chemicals in just a few generations. It's a constant arms race. You use one chemical, it works for a few years, and then suddenly, you notice your mite counts creeping up again. The treatment is no longer effective. Plus, there are growing concerns about the long-term effects of these chemicals on the bees themselves, the honey, and the wax. Some studies suggest they can impact the queen's fertility and the drone's sperm viability. We're trying to save the bees, not inadvertently harm them with our solutions. So, while chemical treatments have their place, especially in heavy infestations, more and more beekeepers are looking for alternatives. This is where the magic of powdered sugar comes in. Yes, you heard me right. The same stuff you use to dust your desserts. It's a method called sugar dusting or sugar shake, and it's a brilliant example of integrated pest management. Here's how it works. The Varroa mite clings to the bee using tiny little pads on its feet. When you dust the bees with a fine layer of powdered sugar, it does two things. First, it makes the bees' bodies slippery, causing the mites to lose their grip and fall off. Second, and more importantly, it stimulates the bees' grooming behavior. Bees are meticulously clean creatures. When they get covered in sugar, they immediately start cleaning themselves and each other. This frenetic grooming activity dislodges even more mites. The dislodged mites fall to the bottom of the hive. If you have a screen bottom board, they fall right through and out of the hive, and able to climb back in. It's a non-toxic, chemical-free way to reduce the mite load in your colony. You can perform a sugar shake to test for mite levels by shaking a sample of bees in a jar with powdered sugar and counting the mites that fall off. This gives you a clear picture of the infestation level without harming the bees. Now, let's get practical. How do you actually do a sugar dust treatment on your entire hive? It's surprisingly simple. First, you'll need a sifter or a shaker jar with small holes in the lid, and about 1 cup of powdered sugar per hive box. It's crucial to use powdered sugar, not granulated sugar, because the fine particles are what work best to dislodge the mites. The best time to do this is on a warm, calm day when the bees are active. You'll open your hive as you normally would for an inspection. Gently remove a frame of bees. Hold it over the open hive and use your sifter to apply a light, even coating of powdered sugar over the bees on both sides of the frame. Don't overdo it. You want a light dusting, not a snowstorm. The bees will look like little powdered donuts for a moment. Place the frame back in the hive and repeat the process for each frame that has a significant amount of bees on it. Once you're done, close the hive up. The bees will immediately get to work cleaning themselves, and the mites will start to fall. It's a beautiful, simple, and effective method. But is sugar dusting a complete cure? The honest answer is no. It's not a silver bullet that will eradicate every single mite. Think of it more like giving your bees a helping hand. Sugar dusting is most effective at removing what are called phoretic mites, the ones that are on adult bees. It doesn't affect the mites that are reproducing inside the capped brood cells, where they are protected under the wax capping. About 80% of the mite population can be hiding in the brood at any given time. Therefore, sugar dusting is best used as part of a larger strategy. You might use it in early spring to knock back the mite population before the queen starts laying heavily, or during a nectar dearth when you want to avoid chemical treatments. You can repeat the treatment every couple of weeks to continually reduce the number of phoretic mites and keep the overall population in check. It's a management tool, not an eradication tool. Combining it with other techniques like drone brood removal, where you trick mites into laying their eggs in drone cells which you then remove and freeze, can be incredibly effective. So, what are the pros and cons? The biggest pro is obviously that it's completely non-toxic and organic. There's no risk of contaminating your honey or wax, and it's safe for the bees. It's also incredibly cheap. A bag of powdered sugar costs a couple of dollars. Compared to expensive chemical treatments, the savings are significant. It also doubles as a diagnostic tool, as the number of mites that fall onto your sticky board after a dusting can give you a good estimate of the infestation level. On the con side, it is more labor-intensive than simply putting a chemical strip in the hive. You have to open the hive and handle each frame. It can also be a bit messy. And as we discussed, it doesn't kill the mites in the brood cells, so its effectiveness is limited, especially during peak brood rearing season. Some argue that the sugar can get wet and cake on the bees if the humidity is too high, potentially causing more harm than good, so it's important to choose a dry day for the treatment. The future of beekeeping is all about being smarter, not just stronger. We are moving away from the mindset of just nuking the hive with chemicals and hoping for the best. Integrated Pest Management, or IPM, is the name of the game. It's a holistic approach that combines multiple strategies to keep pests below a harmful threshold. This includes breeding mite-resistant bees, using mechanical methods like screen-bottom boards and drone brood removal, and yes, using treatments like sugar dusting. It's about monitoring your hives closely, understanding the life cycle of the Varroa mite, and making informed decisions. Maybe you use a sugar dust in the spring, a drone brood removal in the early summer, and if mite counts get dangerously high in the fall, you might then resort to a carefully selected chemical treatment. It's this combination of techniques that gives the bees the best chance of survival. The goal isn't to create a completely sterile, mite-free environment, which is impossible. The goal is to maintain a healthy balance where the colony is strong enough to thrive despite the presence of the mites. So, let's bring it all together. Varroa mites are a serious threat, a tiny monster that can bring down a whole colony. While traditional chemical treatments have been the go-to solution, they come with their own set of problems, including mite resistance and potential harm to the bees. The sugar dusting method offers a safe, organic, and affordable alternative. It works by causing the mites to lose their grip and stimulating the bees' natural grooming behaviors. While it's not a standalone cure because it doesn't affect mites in the brood, it's an incredibly valuable tool in a beekeeper's IPM toolkit. It empowers you to actively manage mite levels without resorting to harsh chemicals, keeping your bees healthier and your honey pure. Whether you're a seasoned beekeeper or just be curious, understanding these different management techniques is key. It's about working with the bees, not just on them. I'm really curious to hear from other beekeepers out there. What are your go-to methods for controlling Varroa mites? Have you tried sugar dusting? And what were your results? Share your experiences and tips in the comments below. Let's build a community of knowledge to help each other keep our hives safe and thriving. If you found this information helpful and want to learn more fascinating things about the world of bees, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and let's work together to save the bees.